Yeah, 73s, mate. And as is, once again, you went from a 5 and 9 and just dropped into my noise. So I've got a feeling the band's probably changing. It seems to be a bit early in the day for the skip to be going longer, but we'll see. Best 73 to you, mate. And thanks again for coming back to me. It was an absolute pleasure to work a 101ZD to a 101ZD. I think that's the first for me using this radio. Okay, QRZ, Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Fox. Okay, I've got Foxtrot Whiskey Uniform. Foxtrot Whiskey Uniform. I caught that side of it, didn't catch anything else. Back to you. Okay, Golf 0, Foxtrot Whiskey Uniform, Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Foxtrot returning. The nameless end is Mark, Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo in Sidcup in Kent. Your signal was a 5 and 6, dropping down to about a 4 and 5, where it's my noise floor. And yes, I do seem to have a slight frequency drift problem here. I'm listening on 7.183, but when I transmit, it seems to shift up 100 hertz. The radio I'm using is an old FT-101ZD, and this is the first time this problem has manifested itself. Normally, it will drift with time, and I just nudge the VFO, but now it seems to be drifting just by me pressing the push to talk key. Back to you, G0 FWU. This is M0 JCF. Yeah, Juliet Charlie Foxtrot. That is correct. Juliet Charlie Foxtrot. Back to you. Yeah, G0FWU, M0, JCF returning. Phil, yeah, I've got all of that, mate, and thanks for that report. A report is a report. I never get hung up about numbers. You know, some people can't handle it when you give them a 4 and 4 or whatever. But, you know, I've got you in as a 5 and 6, but as I say, QSB does drop you slightly lower. The antenna that I'm using is a long wire antenna, just a random long wire. It's a 90 feet long and about 25 feet above the ground, into a 9-to-1 unun and then coax into the garage. Yeah, this radio, yeah, it's getting tired, I suppose. It's 40 years old, and when I bought it in December, and it was factory fresh, still in the box with all the manuals, the receipts and everything. It come from a silent key sale, and I've used it since the beginning of December, and it's only today that it's started playing up on transmit. It does drift sometimes on the receive. It can drift maybe 100 hertz or so, maybe sometimes 200 hertz, but today it seems to be doing it on transmit as well. When I key up, it appears to be transmitting 100 hertz higher than I'm actually listening on. But I love my old radios. I've got a handful of them here, and I just stick with it. I suppose at some time it will need to come apart, just for, you know, just general maintenance based on age. You know, when you look at it, you can see, you know, it is really absolutely pristine, and it's a real shame that the insides don't stay pristine. I was checking the ALC and the plate current, and the plate current does seem a little bit on the high side, so it might be that the output valves are getting tired. I do have some spares, and at some point I will get round to changing them, but I think yeah, maybe the drive is a little bit high, I don't know, and just things are getting a little bit hot. So back to you there, G0 FWU M0 JCF. Back to you, Phil. Yeah, Golf 0 FWU M0 JCF returning. Phil, it was an absolute pleasure to speak to you, but that last over, I would say I got 25% of what you were saying. I got the radio that you're using, your IC, I think you said it was an IC 7610, but I didn't catch the antenna that you was using. But I did hear you say, you know, when it's 40 years old, the cracks do start to show. I wouldn't dare say that to my good lady wife. I wouldn't. I'll keep that to between me and you and the garage walls. But I'm really pleased you come back to me. But as I say, your last over was by far, at best, it was a 3 and 5. I say just into my noise floor, and it was very difficult. So I think probably the skip is going longer. I seem to be having trouble with. I mean, you're at Newcastle under Lyme. I mean, you're not a million miles away as radio propagation goes, and especially for inter G, and I would imagine that the band has changed. I don't know why the delayer should still be there. I mean, it normally sort of just as the sun's setting, I find as the delayer starts to collapse that the skip goes longer on 40 meters, but maybe it's going early today, I don't know. But I do wish you all the best. I'm rambling on, and I may well have lost you in the QSB, or you've lost me. So I'm going to say best wishes, 73, thanks, and look out for me again, Phil. Please do call in. I'll always appreciate a report from you, and you take care. Have a great weekend. I say bye-bye for now. G0 Fox Whiskey Uniform. This is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Fox. Bye-bye, old chap. Okay, nothing heard at this time. CQ40. This is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot. Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Fox, listening 40. I think that was a Golf 4 Oscar India Golf. Please correct me if I was wrong on that, but if it is, my name is Mark, Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo, just down in Sidcup in Kent, southeast of England, and I'll give you a report on the next over, but you was a nice and clear audio, and just so that you know as well, I'm using an FT-101ZD that seems to have developed a little bit of a drifting issue this afternoon, so hopefully you're following this over. Back to you, G4OIG M0 JCF. Yeah, Golf 4, Oscar India Golf, Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Foxtrot returning, Gerald Northants, no problems mate, no problems, 5 and 7, and I do understand you're using an old Tango Sierra 130 Victor and just 10 watts into a dipole, so the 5 and 7, really good old chap, really appreciate you coming back to me on a lovely old piece of kit. I have a slightly older Kenwood or a Trio sitting next to this 101ZD. I've got a TS520S. I haven't really used it too much since Christmas, but I do use it quite often, and hopefully next time I speak to you I'll be able to work you with that one. But yeah, your 10 watts from the TS130 Victor is absolutely cracking signal at 5 and 7. The QSB is dropping you to around the 4 and 5, and there is some QR Mexico from a nearby station. I would imagine he's either on 185 or possibly he's below us with a wide-banded signal on 180. I've picked an oddball frequency here, 183, only because of earlier on there were people either side of it, but it was about as clear as I could get on 40 metres. I would imagine that the longest skip from further into the continent is now coming in. So how did you copy all of that there, Gerald? Back to you, Golf 4, Oscar India Golf. This is Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Foxtrot.
Nowadays, and
Yeah, Golf 4, Oscar Italy Golf, Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Foxtrot returning for that final. Gerald, is an absolute pleasure. Nice to work old rigs to old rigs. Yeah, I mean, I've got nothing against modern radios. I do have a TS590S. I do have an FT-817, and I have some very, very modern Chinese stuff as well. You know, those small 8-band micro STX radio. I mean, they're lovely radios and they do what they say on the tin. But you know, the old valve stuff and the hybrid stuff, I'm just going to rev the nuts off it until they don't go anymore. Running about 125 watts barefoot out of this radio at the moment. So really, really pleased with that. And just so that you know, you're talking about old radios, I do have a Swan 350 from about 1967, I think that one is, maybe 1965. It's the one that the Americans copied from the KW radios, which were built just down the road from where I live in Erith in Kent. And then I've got some old summer camps as well, you know, transmitter receiver pairings, purely valve stuff also, and they needs a lot of work though. I mean, they're not plug and play, they're not going to work. I bought them just before Christmas, and they light up, and that's as far as it goes. You know, they're going to need recapping, switch cleaner, probably valves, that sort of thing. But you know, it's something for the future. I bought them not to use now, but I bought them to work on in the future. But thanks for coming back to me, and I wish you all the best, very best 73 to all the family also, and I look forward to working you again. Listen out for me tomorrow, possibly. I might be using the TS 520S tomorrow, and just give this old 101ZD a bit of a rest. I've been hammering it a bit since the beginning of December. So bye bye, old chap, 73, and catch you later. G0OIG M0 JCF. Yeah, 73s, and just so you know, a solid 5 and 7 on that over, and it was a lovely stable signal. Cheers, old chap. QRZ Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Fox. I got Kilo Bravo India. If I could take Kilo Bravo India first, please. This is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Fox, Mark in Sidcup in Kent. G8 KBI M0 JCF. Yeah, no problem. What we'll do is give you a report, etc. first. You are 5 and 9, a solid 5 and 9. The needle just nudging the little red section there, and I'm using an FT-101ZD, running about 120 watts into a 90-foot long wire. So that's the story this end. But if you can give me my report and your name and location for the logbook, and I'll bring you in on the other person as well. G8 KBI M0 JCF.
Yeah, very good afternoon there, Mark. Yeah, just been listening to your other little QSO there. Handle this end is Phil, that's the Par Hotel India Lima. We're not on this one from you, we're down in Uckfield in the county of Sussex. So we're about halfway between Tunbridge Wells and Lewis. And we often, from time to time, manage to have a chat with Dougie there. M6INU is also in Sidcup. So I know Sidcup quite well from my stomping days. Yeah, running STDX10 this end. But I was just interested, Mark, in that you're running more there. CQ40m sitting on the floor behind me. That's getting a bit thick now with the dreaded relay problem, and I think the last time I turned it on, the frequency display was up the spout. But love the old rigs, and it's on the to-do list, Mark, to try and get that sorted. Anyway, you asked for a report. Yeah, you're whacking in here. 5 and 9 plus, absolutely solid, wonderful signal. You are drifting around just a few tens of hertz up and down, but nothing too serious, and perfectly reasonable. Thank you there, Mark. M0JCF from GAKBI.
Yeah, Golf 8, Kilo Bravo India, Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Foxtrot returning. Okay, Phil, in Uckfield, you will remind me of the 2 metre repeater down that way. I can access the Uckfield 2 metre repeater. I haven't accessed it for a long time, probably last summer was the last time, but I sort of know, I know you've got a 2 metre repeater down that neck of the woods, so that's why that puts you on the map for me. Thanks for the 5 and 9 plus. Yeah, this radio has got a slight drifting problem, anything up to 200 hertz, but you know, I nudged the VFO and it behaves itself for a while. It hasn't been behaving itself too well this afternoon. Right, and as for the signal, I would imagine that's a very good NVIS contact that we're having. It's certainly not ground wave on 40 metres over the distance. Well, it's got to be about 35 miles. I mean, it's possible, but I think this is NVIS. I think you're getting my centre lobe going straight up. I think it was modelled around 7 dB straight up. So I'm running about 120, 125 watts barefoot, and let's give it. Let's be really generous and give it a 3 dB loss. So we're putting at the feed point probably about just over 50 watts, and then we're gaining back what we've lost with the gain on the NVIS antenna. That's the theory that I've got running around my head as to why our signals are so good, but I could be talking absolute garbage, couldn't I don't know. You'd like to think as an M0 I would know what I was talking about, but sometimes I ramble on, and you'll notice that as well. But yeah, it's lovely of you to come back to me. I say FT-101ZD Mark III. Bought it just before Christmas, beginning of December. It came, as looking at it, you would say this was brand new. It came in the box with all of the manuals, both service and user manuals, and all of the receipts. The receipts were all in South African Rand. The person I bought it from, he's Silent Key 5 years ago. I bought it from his widow, and it was I think he bought it brand spanking new in South Africa, and as I say, I paid a good market price for it. I didn't rip the lady off or anything. She just wanted a donation to her cause. She was basically going to scrap everything that she hadn't sold over the last 5 years, and I heard about it on the wind. There was lots of homebrew gear and stuff like that, some lovely homebrew gear. So I made her a nice donation to her cause, and she was over the moon, and I was very happy. But you know, the radio hasn't been touched internally, certainly by me, and I've just been using it since the beginning of December. But as I say, yeah, you may have to chase me with the VFO very slightly, as it does, I can see on the display, it does tend to wander slightly. I've also got next to it a TS520S, which I use quite often since last Easter, and that seems to be a little bit more stable. I mean, it's analog only, so where I drift on that is my eyeballs because of the analog dial. That's the story there. I'll tell you what, Phil, let's see if someone else did call in, and maybe they'd like to get a double report off us. So I'll hand it back to you for any comments on what I've just said. Otherwise, I'll bring in the other station that you heard calling in at the same time. G8 KBI M0 JCF.
You mentioned the 2 metre repeater in Nigel. That's been moved. That went quiet before Christmas, and just after Christmas it was sparked up again. But it's been moved to New Haven, so it's going to be the wrong side of the Downs for you. Although that's not to say you might still be able to get in there, depending on what your height is. But yeah, good old Sidcup. I started off my radio days as a teenager, and I was in Erith, so just a bike ride away from Sidcup. So that was all 2 metre FM stuff with the good old High Cambridge, the AM10D modified for FM. I think it's still out there in the garage somewhere. I must get that going one day. So that was jolly good fun back in those days. So yeah, well done to you to rescue that 101. Back in the day, that was a highly aspirational rig, along with the KW rigs. I don't know if you go back that far. People were either buying the 101 or the KW202. So it'd be lovely to get your hands on one of those one day. So I'm going to shove it back to you, Mark, and just see whether you can put in that other station. He was quite weak with me earlier on. There is a bit of QSB, so hopefully he's still with us. So back to you, Mark. M0JCF with a break for the other station there from JKBI. Mexico 5, Alpha India Bravo.
Yeah, Mexico 5, Alpha India Bravo. Very good afternoon, and thanks for being patient. Not sure if you were the one calling in, but you're certainly loud to me if you were weak to Phil. So let's just grab a name and everything. I'm M0JCF, Mark in Sidcup in Kent, and I will answer Phil, if I may, on 2 points. One, yes, I have spoken to Doug many times, but I don't know him face to face, but we have spoken many times. And KW, I do have here in front of me a Swan 350 that I'm restoring, which was a copy of one of the KWs. But let's go back to M5 AIB and let's get some reports swapped over. So M5 AIB M0 JCF in company with G8 KBI. Over to you, sir.
And the location is in West Yorkshire, a village called Murfield, which is between Huddersfield and Leeds. We're about 5 miles from Huddersfield, probably about 8 miles from Leeds. Just running 75 watts from a K3 into an inverted V Van Dyke wall. So that's the situation here. And Mark, you're 5 and 9 plus 10, and Phil, you're 5 and 9. And I've been looking on QRZ, Mark, and I thought I had a few radios, but I think you've got more than me. I've got the K3, I've got the 7300, I've got the Kenwood TS480, and I've got the IC7100 as well, along with a HF, along with a FT-101ZD. So the HF rigs here, one in the camper van of an 857. And then 1 or 2 other rigs, so that's the rigs at this end. But looking at your photographs, you've certainly got a selection of rigs and some of the old ones as well. Years and years ago, I used to have a 19 set, but that went many years ago. So that's fitting everything in. And I noticed you've got yours on shelves, which I did and then dispensed with. So they're on a shelf, one shelf now, or some of the rigs, and the others are in the corner. And the shack is a bedroom, an ex-bedroom of my daughter's after she left home like I was doing. So that's the situation at this end. And I noticed you got motorbikes. I know you're a motorbike. I used to be, but not ridden a motorbike for 20 years. And I've been retired about 17 years now. And I'll push it down to Phil, around the back to you, Mark, and then Golf 8 Kilo Bravo India from Mike 5 Alpha India Bravo. Yeah, M5 AIB with Duragers, KBI. Yeah, very good afternoon to you, Tony. Your signals come up tracking now. You're a good 5 and 9. When you first came on, you were about 5 and 3, 5 and 4. So it seems that the conditions are with us, shall we say? Conditions are with us. Sounds like you're into the good old stuff as well as Mark. Yeah, I can't match you, I'm afraid. Can't match you. All I've got there is the 102 chip on the floor. Got this key, X707, which I bought. Whistles and to play with on the FTDX10. Certainly the spectrum scope is an absolute boon. I thought it was going to be a gimmick until I tried it, but it's great. But there's absolutely nothing like a bit of steam radio, is there? And twiddling the knobs and tuning things up there. I'm going to push it back round to Mark. I won't hold it too long. I was just interested in the fact he's running off the 101. And seeing whether you've had any experience, Mark, with changing out these dreadful relays that go noisy, and also on the frequency display, because it would be lovely to get this 102 back up and running nicely again. Round to you there, Mark. M0JCF M5AIB on the side, G8KBI.
Yeah, Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Fox returning to G8KBI in company with M5AIB. Answering your question there, Phil, no, I haven't had any experience on these radios with the relays. The 520S, when I first got it, did have a relay problem, but a good friend of mine just down in Rochester, sort of Gillingham way actually, in Kent, had that apart for me. The relay on that did need a clean. I don't think that it was a big job or anything like that. I think it was quite, older radios, bigger relays, easy to disassemble and use a little burnisher to clean the contacts. That sort of solved one of the issues with that radio. But this one, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you with that. I haven't gone inside it. The KW, I think somebody mentioned the KW. One of you mentioned the KW, and did I mention I've got a Swan 350? I may have done. I've mentioned it so many times today. I've lost the thread on that. So that sort of answers that. Tony, not sure if I gave you your report 5 and 9 though, and it was a solid 5 and 9. Phil, your signal's actually gone up to 5 and 9 plus. I'll tell you what has come up on the frequency though while you were speaking was our I would imagine it's the signal that you keep getting on 40 meters. It sounds like a digital signal, either jamming or over the horizon radar type signal. I hear it a lot on 40 meters, normally in several places. It's quite wideband. It can be anything up to 10, 15 kilohertz wide, and I did hear that once or twice come up on the frequency. So maybe that's something we're going to have to contend with for a while, or somebody's just not hearing us and they've just fired up a digital transmitter of some sort. So that's that story. So hand it round to you, Tony. M5 AIB M0 JCF in the small group.
Because I live in a hole for a better word down by the river, and so I tend to transmit over the hill rather than and the hill stops the signal coming into it. So I sometimes struggle. I run the Thai services net on 60 metres on Sunday morning, which is Rafar's raw signals and Navy, and I tend to use Hat Green as a backup, because some people I can hear quite plainly, and others I can't, I'm struggling. So it is weird, and there's more and more. I mean, I've been licensed now on HF since 2000 for the M5 call sign, and I was licensed before that under the G7. And certainly on all frequencies, the noise has come up greatly the last few years with what was LED lighting and internet and one thing and another. And no matter who you talk to, they seem to be having problems. And then there's the people that cause hassle on the frequency anyway, jamming and one thing and another. But radios, Mark was impressed. Can't remember now, so I'm not going to be QRZ on. It was a little rig, very small, with just a screen on. And we just interested in what that rig is. Well, it's an SDR rig, one of these from China. I mean, you can go on forever with rigs. I did consider getting, when I got the 7300, getting what is it, 890. The 101, the new 101, not the old one. And anyway, I decided they were too big for my shack, so I settled on the Icon. And to you, Phil, it was you that mentioned the 102. Well, funnily enough, a colleague of mine will speak to every Friday. He has a 102, and he uses it all the time, but it has packed up. And he's taken it to repair this last week, and he thinks it's the relay, the one that does some transmit to receive. But also he's had some of the capacitors replaced before, so it seems to be a common problem with the 101s and 102s, the relays. So they sometimes just stick, I believe, or they won't replace it. So I know he's had his replaced a couple of times. So I believe he's had the radio from new, so that was 4 years ago, because they've been in for a long time. And again, somebody else will know the 102. I mean, when he's on the air, people comment on the crispness of the audio. So yeah, they're still being used, and they're still liked. Most people like them better than the old, the new rigs. The LICs and the service bells. I think the oldest rig I had a 570 for many years, and bought it in 2000. It was a second user one, and I only got rid of it a couple of years ago to a colleague of mine, and that needed attention. Obviously, with the use and one thing and another, but switch over, live in a better location, so I can have a better air allowance, and I've been near the top of the hill. Anyway, back down to you, Phil.
Yeah, from KBI. Hope you're still getting me there, Tony. Somebody just come up half a KC away from us. Yeah, fine business. Yeah, the thing with the 102, yeah, definitely relays. That's how my problem started. It was I was come off the transmit and the receiver was just deaf. On the website, do a bit of research, and you find it's it's a horrendous job to get in there. You've got to really totally rip the guts out of the thing to get to these relays. And then you've got to modify the PCB to take a slightly different pattern of relay to them. So it'll be a labour of love. So I think it's slightly worth doing at some stage, but it's a project. It's not a repair. It's definitely a project. Yeah, I had a look on your page, Mark. There's a few other bits and pieces on there which spark some interest. You've got the Kodai AT5. Wow! We used to use those for DSing when we went out and did hidden stations. That was a Kodai AT5 running off a car battery. Great stuff. And I see you've got an FR50D Yaesu receiver there. That was my first decent receiver. That's still in the loft. Wonderful piece of kit. Nice hybrid with a variable new front end, I seem to remember. That was its selling point. So it was very robust against intermod. Strangely enough, they still used the thermionic valve for the audio rather than using transistors. But I think transistors were used in some of the receive circuitry there. Have to get the manual out and have a look at it. Have to get the rig down, get that album off and fire it up and have a bit of a retro day. And then the other one I spotted on your page, Mark, was the 2200. Yes, I remember. I've still got mine, although I think mine got damaged by leaving the battery batteries, leaving the NiCads in there, and they leak. So whether that's recoverable or not, I don't know. Certainly repairable, but whether it would work just by putting some NiCads in. But yeah, for that, I built the, oh gosh, what was the magazine? One of the magazines did a linear amplifier. They were very much into RF stuff. Who was that, Mark? They used to do the coils. They started off selling the coils, didn't they? The various things, and they expanded out into doing other bits and pieces. So that was the firm, and then the magazine got associated with it. So that amplifier is still around somewhere. And I think there was a modification for it. You could either run it in Class C, or when the CQ40 came out, there was a modification to make it linear. So it'd be nice to get that going as well, but it's just finding the documentation for it. I'd have to, I don't know where you would find it, an old magazine article for that sort of thing. Anyway, I'm going to push it back to you, Mark, and I'm going to make this one my final. I was just butting in after listening into one of your other QSOs, so I'll make this one my final. Very nice talking to you. I've got your card marked, shall we say. You're in the logbook with a few comments, particularly because you're running all this lovely old kit. So back to you there, Mark, and very good wishes to you there, Tony, up there in Yorkshire. M0JCF, M5AIB on the side, 28KBI.
G8KBI M0JCF returning for your final. Well, answering the questions, because Tony asked one as well about the Chinese micro SDX. I'll come back to that one, Tony. But answering your questions, Phil, seeing as you're going, yeah, the Kodar AT5, I've restored it. It's all rewired and recapped, etc. But I need to build the power supply for it. I've got the components for the power supply. I've actually got the HT and low tension transformers, no problems. And I've also got an OA2 neon valve for the regulation, for the 150 volt regulated supply. So, you know, I've got all the components. I just haven't got round to fixing it all together. But something to note that may interest you: on the first Monday of the month, the Cray Valley Radio Society, my local club, Cray Valley, we run a top band net on the first Monday of every month. So it'll actually be this Monday is the first Monday of March. We go on, we start LSB, top band, LSB, and then we move on to AM. Now it's 1.905. I'm sure you know it's a 32 watt limit there, so 32 watts, and of course when you're on AM you want to try and limit yourself to sort of 8-10 watts carrier. But we start off on LSB and then we go on to AM, and several of the club members there, they are using Kodar AT5s, etc. The T28 receiver, a lot of them are using things like Eddystone receivers and Eddystone receivers really. So it's quite a mixed bag on that one of enthusiasts like myself. I keep meaning to get my Kodar AT5 up and running, and then I can sort of join them on that side of things. But it's good fun. It lasts about an hour and a half. We tried to keep it between 8 o'clock in the evening to 9 o'clock, but because of the amount of people that now join on LSB, by the time you've done a couple of rounds of everyone, you sort of getting near towards 9 o'clock. Then they switch to AM and give it half an hour or so for everyone to get around on AM. So some of the fidelity on some of those radios as well is really quite remarkable, comparable, I would say, to some of those AM radio broadcast stations. But that's that story. The TR2200 GX, that's now been sold. I sold that this week, believe it or not. The 7200G is also gone. A few of those older VHF radios have now gone. I really need to update my QRZ page. So that's that story. I can't remember if you asked anything else. Not sure. You might have been replying to Tony. But that's the story there. But yeah, for the Kodar AT5, etc., etc. If you want to break it out, I mean, you don't have to use old kit. If you want to join into the Cray Valley net, 8 p.m. 1.905 on the first Monday of every month, you'll find us. And from where you are, might be a bit difficult with ground waving, and of course, unless you've got a really good NVIS antenna, you may just bounce your signal right over our heads. But we're all relatively local, so we do have quite a net going on that. So that just gives you an idea. And of course, when your AT5's out of the loft or wherever, you know, you might want to break it out and listen to us on a modern rig, but transmit AM on that rig. You know, I keep saying to them, you know, I'm going to get mine done and dusted, and I can give mine a go. I've had several people say that they would lend me a power supply, but you know, I'm a bit of a stick in the mud with things like that. I want to do it myself using my own kit. So yeah, I will get onto it at some point. As for Tony, yes, the radio you was asking me about, that was the Chinese micro SDX 8-band QRP transceiver. It's SDR receiver and Class E transmitter. It's all menu driven. And when you know your way around the menus, it works really, really well. I've had some fantastic results with that radio on 40 and 80 meters. I haven't really used it on the higher bands. I've just left it as a /QRP. I've got myself into Western Russia with my 90-foot long wire, running about 3 or 4 watts on 40 and 80 meters. That's sort of the distance for that. I get good audio reports and everything. You do have to set them up though. Now, one thing to note, Tony, if you can get me on QRZ and my email address, my club is doing a group buy. Now, the designer of that radio that the Chinese copied is DL2 Mike Alpha November. Manuel is a DL2. He's got fed up with the Chinese copying his design and him getting no credit for it. Okay, I am guilty. I did buy one. But our club is doing a group buy of his latest kit. It's called the True SDX, TRU SDX. I think it's a 4-band transceiver. It's in kit form. Now, you have to have a minimum buy to keep the cost down. I forget what the minimum buy is, but my club is doing a minimum buy. We're gonna get it so that the price comes out around about 50 quid or less per kit. So hit me up on qrz.com on my email address, and I'll give you the information. Well, I'll pass you on to the club member that is arranging this. As I say, I can't remember what the minimum buy is. I'm actually going to buy 2 of them. I don't even need them, but I love my homebrew stuff, and this will be direct from the designer himself, DL2 MAN, and what he'll do is we'll get the group buy going, and then we'll sort out the niceties and the finance, etc. Somewhere along the line. But yeah, send me an email, Tony, and we can see how you want to go with that. That's if you're interested, of course. So I'll hand it round to you, Tony. Phil, I will say 73 to you, and I think I'm going to make this my final as well, unless anyone else does come up. I will make this my final because it's gone 4 o'clock and I've been at it for a few hours now, and I'd like to get back to the family. So I'll go over to you, Tony, and see what you feel about that, what I've just said. Mike 5 Alpha India Bravo. This is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Fox, in company with Golf 8 Kilo Bravo India.
Juliet Charlie Fox, M5 British. If you're still listening, Phil 73 is to you, nice talking to you, and hopefully catch you again sometime. And yeah, I might be interested in that. At the moment, I've got other things to do at the moment. Mark, I took up in the pandemic. I took up model boating after about 30 years, so I'm heavily into that at the moment. And then I work in a private railway and rebuilding some of the broken down wagons from scratch, replaced the wooden chassis, scratched the wooden chassis, and obviously fettled all the metal work up and that. And then we built the deck on and the uprights and all the sides and that, and painted it and stenciled it, and now we're on with a big wagon, you know, a goods wagon. And the other thing we've got missing is the sliding door, which we've got to get more information on. So we've got one side done, the two ends, and we're starting this next week. We got rained off this week. We're starting on the other side and then get that done and then get the inside done. So I'm ever leaning to other things at the moment, but certainly might be interested, so I might end up emailing you and then. I'm struggling at the moment, so the signal's getting worse, so it will at my end because obviously I get this interference and I've not got the I normally use the iPad for that green, so it's downstairs. We'll have to go get and that. But finally you're dashing off, but I'm going to dash off anyway and do one or two other things and then I've been model boating this morning and just go up into the shack because my finger's got that cold this morning that once they get cold it takes some warming up, so it takes heating up and I'm up here and then but interesting all your rigs and information and then anyway, I'll search home and see if any others call us, and if not I'll say 73 so you hopefully catch you again sometime, and I might end up emailing you shortly and then get some information. So 73's Mark, and nice talking to you. I will listen for a while, and then in case you have any other callers, from Mike 5 Alpha India Bravo.
Yeah, Mike 5 Alpha India Bravo, Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Fox returning for that final. Tony, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I feel your pain with all those hobbies, mate, and you've got some heavyweight hobbies there by the sounds of it. I mean, trains. I do oil painting and stuff like that. That's the way I go in one direction. I used to drag race motorcycles, and you see on my QRZ page, my QSL card was my last drag bike. Me and my youngest daughter were both drag racing motorcycles, but I don't do that anymore. But it makes a nice QSL card and it's a talking point. I don't ride on the road anymore. My last get off on the road, I broke my collarbone and 2 ribs, and I mean my daughters are both in their 20s now, but you know, back then they were a lot younger, and I really didn't want the next phone call home being you know, can you identify the body. I was really lucky that day, you know, I broke my ribs at the back and you know, my collarbone, and I was lucky it wasn't my neck or something, and it brought it home to me. You know, the kids yeah, they don't need to see that happening again, and well, my wife certainly doesn't. But so yeah, so we got into the drag racing, and one of my friends who lives up the road, he's a drag racer. I've done all sorts of motorcycle racing over the years, road racing, speedway, etc. And you know, the drag racing, you can't get into too much trouble. You know, it's a straight line, quarter mile, as hard and as fast as you can. Having said that, my daughter did manage to bin it once, but that was inexperience off the start line. She gave it a big handful, and the bike decided to go sideways, and she dragged herself down the safety wall. But that's another story. We'll talk about it another time. Tony, as I say, and Phil, if you're still listening, an absolute stonking pleasure to have this rag chew with the pair of you, and it's always good to rag chew on 40 into G and near continent rather than the usual weekend 5 and 9 next with contesters. Got nothing against contesters. I never get into contests, but I do swap reports if it benefits me, we'll say, especially with the DX. You know, maybe a little bit selfish, but you know, at the end of the day, a contact's a contact, and you take the rough with the smooth. So I wish you both very best 73. Have a fantastic weekend, what's left of it, and enjoy life going forward, I suppose. So I'll see if Phil's still there, and if he had any final comments, and otherwise I'll say goodbye to you both, and I will listen if there's anyone else calling in that would like a report. And G8 KBI M0 JCF. Phil, are you still on frequency?
The company I was thinking of that did the 2 metre linear was Ambi. you an email and just see where we stand on that. Let's catch you further down, as they say. Cheerio.
Yeah, cheers, Phil, and you're always welcome to whatever radio I'm using, whether it's a Chinese QRP radio, one of my hybrids, or any valve gear and that. Always jump in, and don't forget the Cray Valley net on Monday at 8 p.m. 1.902. If you've got that capability, we'd like to hear you. Likewise for you as well, Tony, if you're still listening. If you've got top band capability, both LSB and AM, if you want to give it a go, 8 p.m. on 1.905. Yeah, we will welcome you, but I'm sure you both know, both being full license, you know, that section of the band is 32 watts, which means that when we're on AM, you know, 8 to 10 watts carrier, unless of course you've got lots of less losses in the system, but I'll let you work that one out. Okay, chaps, I'll say goodbye and good luck, and I'll just ask once, QRZ, this is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot. Anyone would like a report? Okay, there was a possibility someone was just on my S5 noise floor. I thought I heard someone. I may have been wrong. I'll give it one more go and then I'll be going QRT. QRZ, this is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot in the southeast of England. Just listening. Yeah, Mike 1 Delta Alpha Tango. Got you that time. Let's just do a time check on that one. Where are we? We're at 16:19, we'll call that, give or take a minute. Yeah, Mike 1 Delta Alpha Tango. This is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot. The name is Mark Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo. I'm down in Sidcup in Kent. That's Juliet Oscar 01 Bravo Kilo, running an FT-101ZD, 120 watts into a 90-foot long wire. I'll give you a report on the next over, but you had you had a radio 5, no problem, and I'll give you a proper signal report on the next over. M1 DATM0 JCF. Yeah, M1 DATM0 JCF. Okay, Rob, no problems. The 50 watt making the trip, no problem. 5 and 7 with QSB dropping you into my noise floor. So it's a little bit on and off, but you're peaking 5 and 7 to me. The 3 element Cushcraft beam, obviously doing a job. I'm not so sure it's doing as good a job of transmitting as my mouldy old long wire. I mean, if I'm giving you 5 and 9 plus, it does make all the difference, doesn't it? You can see our the different characteristics of the antenna. You know, my one is a good Envis antenna, all my power going straight up with a couple of side lobes, and I would imagine that your antennas are pushing your signal probably right over my head. But all that waffle on, how did you copy that, Rob? M1 DATM0 JCF.
So it's a little bit on the low side, so sometimes
Yeah, M1D80M0JCF, no problem, mate. Look forward to it. I am QRV, 2 meters to the top band, and sometimes 70 SEMS, normally on FM. Well, I say normally, rarely, but I have been known to use 70 SEMS and the local repeaters on 70 SEMS. So, the local repeater down this way, 70 SEMS, GB3 Oscar Yankee, is very, very popular. Got great coverage all around the London and South East area. So maybe you'll catch me there. Otherwise, oh, excuse me, I've just hiccuped. Apologies for that, right in your ear hole. Otherwise, 2 meters, both FM and SSB, no problems. Take care, and thanks for calling in. I waffle. You might have gathered that, Rob. I do waffle. I never just say goodbye. I'll take 15 minutes to say goodbye. All the best, mates. 73s, and thanks for calling in. M1D80M0JCF. Cheers, mate. QRZ, Mike 0, Juliet, Charlie Fox. Anyone like a report before I go QRT? Yeah, Golf Whiskey 1, Mike November Charlie. Lovely clear signal from you, old man. The name this end, I'm sure you know, is Mark, Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo. I'm just down in Sidcup in Kent, just down there in the southeast of England. Back to you.
Charlie, and my duty is right on the South Wales coast, a small town called Wolfscore, which is in between Swansea and Cardiff. And you're up with a 5 and 7 to 5 and 8 with me each side from GW1, Mike November Charlie. Name is Alex, Alpha Lima Echo Charlie.
GW1 MNC M0JCF returning. Alec, absolute pleasure to speak to you today. Lovely audio, considering, you know, like 40 meters has been a little bit up and down this afternoon, and plagued with all various weird noises coming, we would assume, from the east. And but you're a 5 and 8, sometimes nudging 5 and 9 on that last over. I was looking intently to see if I could genuinely give you a 9, but we'll call it a 5 and 8. You are nudging 5 and 9 though, but as I say, the audio is lovely. It's got a good tone to it, and I can imagine that it would break through any noise. Today, Alec, I'm using the FT-101 Zulu Delta Mark III, a 40-year-old Yaesu. I'm sure you know it. Everyone knows these old radios. The antenna is a 90-foot long wire. It's about 25 feet over the ground, a slightly inverted U shape, so it's got some vertical elements at both ends. And just watching the power meter now as I'm talking to you, and it's around 120 watts. Back to you, GW1, Mike November Charlie. This is Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Fox.
Yes, okay, Mike. The equipment sure is an FT991 Alpha. I got the MD100 microphone connected to it. I've been having some wonderful results audio-wise. And the antenna is an NVDV tablet. I'm actually off, mate. There you go. Anyway, lots of people like to work your mark. It's been absolutely gorgeous day down here, wall-to-wall sunshine. Anyway, that's what I'm running. 100 watts FT991 Alpha and an MD100 mic from GW1 Mike November Charlie. Who's up?
Yeah, certainly a lovely microphone. That they're very popular, aren't they? I'm using the Yankee Delta 148 desk microphone with this radio. I don't think there's anything special about it. It's dual impedance. I'm not sure if it's got any circuitry in it, if it's just a straight through, like basically a hand mic but on a stem. It's on a gooseneck, and it works very well. I'm in the garage. I've got all my my heavyweight radios are in the garage. So yeah, WX this end, yeah, I don't want to talk to you anymore with all that sunshine. No, we've had rain today on and off. It's been a bit cold, 8 or 9 degrees. I don't think it's reached double figures today, but the rain has been on and off. It has been a bit cold and miserable down this neck of the woods. We're hoping it's going to brighten up in the week when we're all back at work, of course. That's how it works, isn't it? We're expecting double figures, high double figures, probably sort of, we're hoping 17, 18 degrees, which for us is like a balmy summer day, isn't it? But yeah, it is what it is. It's still winter, isn't it? We're into meteorological spring, and of course proper spring. The clocks go forward in about two weeks time, don't we? And then we're into British summertime, and then like magic the sun will come out, we'll all be in shorts and t-shirt, and then before we know it, it'll be Christmas. GW1 Mike November Charlie, this is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Fox.
We've had the sunshine, as you see, it's been absolutely gorgeous. Hope it stays like this now for a couple of months. But there you go. Okay, mate, Mark, look after yourself, and we look out for you again. But as you say, we've got a fairground down here, which will be open. Well, it is open, matter of fact, only to the arcades and that. But they'll have the donkeys on the beach and everything else. We'll have the Elvis Presley Festival down here as well. We got coming. So, you know, we've got a few things on the books for the summer anyway. Okay, Mark, 73's mate, look after yourself and the family, and we'll look out for you again. And thanks for a nice audio report from Golf Whiskey, number 1, Mike November Charlie. Yes, you are.
Yaki Dar indeed. GW1 MNC M0JCF. Best 73 to you, Alec, and all of the family. You stay safe and clean and healthy and all the rest of it. And I will say the two things. One, I have been to Wales a couple of times, Aberystwyth on holiday, and I've walked across the Brecon Beacons as well with a bunch of mates. Oh, that's got to be 20 years or more ago now. And my mum's maiden name is Williams. My granddad, dear old chap, died in 1985, unfortunately. He was his dad was Welsh and his mum was from Devon. So there you go, old chap. I've got some Welsh blood in me. So and I used to be, before I went both grey and bald, I used to be blonde. So there was probably a little bit of ginger in me as well. So yeah, there you go. I've got a connection to you by hook or by crook, mate. And you take care. Have a great weekend. Bye bye for now.
Yes, okie doke. I know I have a wristwatch. That's what we say. I have a wristwatch. I don't think I'll go back and Beacons. Well, it's beautiful up there, really, especially in the summer. But there you go. Something all over the top of Brecon Beacons. It's not researching anyway, Mark. Okay, send me these all the best to you and the family from GW1 Mike November Charlie. Cheers now.
Yeah, cheers, old chap, and you take care. I appreciate you coming back to me. QRZ, Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Fox. Absolutely nothing is heard this end. This station is going QRT, Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Foxtrot, Sid Cupping Kent, Juliet Oscar 01 Bravo Kilo. Shortwave listeners, I do QSL via email. So if you'd like a QSL card as a shortwave listener, please find me on qrz.com. You will find my email address there, and I do QSL shortwave listeners. It might not be instantaneous, but I do QSL shortwave listeners, and I appreciate reports in that email. All I need is your location, the report, and any interfering noises, etc., and an antenna would be nice as well. This station is going QRT. This frequency is clear for use. This frequency is clear for use.